What you're looking at are two websites. One is a live site and the other one is a redesign that I created using Claude Cursor and some really great prompting in only a matter of minutes. This is something that probably would have been 2 weeks of work that I was able to do in under an hour. And I'm going to show you everything, how I did this, the prompts I used. So if you like this, give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment with any questions, ideas, or things that you would want to look at in the future. All right, let's get right into it. So for this experiment, we're going to be using the CRISPE framework that will allow us to create a very structured way to prompt the analysis from Claude. CRISPE means capacity and role, insight, statement, personality, and experiment. And this is exactly how we're going to structure the prompt. And this is great for analysis. So all we need to do now, I'm going to drop that prompt directly into Claude. Let's not forget to grab the URL from our victim, and we'll drop that in as well. Now, while Claude thinks, you'll see it's going to want to open the MCP tool. Here we go, Playwright. We're going to allow it. And you can see that it's pulling up the site. Now, while Claude runs its analysis, it will actually use the site. And I'm going to have to allow several different tools as part of the Playwright MCP to have access. Claude is thinking. Now Claude is working through its Playwright script so it can evaluate the site accordingly. You'll see Claude will take screenshots. It's even looking at console logs to get the color information because part of the prompt includes getting the exact Pantone colors so that for the redesign can match the right brand identity. Claude has now finished its audit. It's divided its evaluation into 3 sections: messaging, visual brand and style breakdown, including the exact color and Pantone details that are used on the site, and the strategic gaps and opportunities of what's working and what's not working, just like we identified in the prompt. And here are the recommendations: clarify the primary value proposition, create distinct user paths, and strengthen the call to action hierarchy. All great information. The next step is that we're going to use a prompt stack, which is a 3-prompt framework that is perfect for taking the information that output from Claude and turning that into a foundation for great and usable copy. And here's how it works. First, we're going to start with RASEF, which is a great simple framework for exactly this task, which is coming up with the positioning statement based on the information that Claude has found. From there, we're going to plug the output from RASEF into the BAB framework, which is before-after bridge. And this is around showing some kind of journey, the before condition, the after condition, and how our brand bridged that gap for our customers. And then we're going to move on to the GRADE framework, which is another great framework for content creation and developing strategic ways of articulating your brand identity and value. I already have my RASEF prompt written down here. In many cases, I might put a little bit more detail into this, but we have the whole framework, and then we have the entirety of the output from Claude below it. I'm going to take all of this, and I'm going to drop it right into Claude. We now have really powerful positioning statements that can be used as a foundation for helping to develop better copy for the updated website. You can see it's hitting on core value propositions, differentiators, and spruces up some of their copy to be more engaging and more call to action oriented. Now we're going to move on to the BAB framework, before-after bridge. This is what we call a framing prompt. This is very helpful in teeing up a prompt just so the AI has the proper context. We're following the before-after bridge flow that I had talked about earlier, and I'm pasting in the positioning statements that Claude had just output as part of the RASEF prompt. Let's go ahead and enter that. Now you see the before and after framework, and this is really helpful in articulating the journey and the way that you want the customer experience. And now we're moving on to GRADE, and GRADE is going to take the output from both prior prompts, apply this following framework. We have a distinct goal, a request and action, details and examples, and use that to create converting copy and copy that is ready for our homepage. I've taken this prompt along with the framing prompt. I pasted the RASEF and BAB full output down below, and now I'm going to put this directly into Claude. It's writing our new website copy right here. We've got a hero headline, a subheadline, primary call to action, secondary call to action, even has the correct phone number, about preview paragraph, and service blurbs. Amazing. But here's the cool part. We're going to ask Claude to mock up a new version of this site using all of the great information that we just generated. Claude, create a mock-up of what a new site can look like using all of the information that we've covered. Claude is thinking, and it's actually going to be working on a website redesign artifact. The code is being written in real time as we go right here. Awesome. And now you can see that we've got a full mock-up that matches the original details, colors, contains image dimensions, implements new copy, and is probably a decent improvement over the original site. Let's check mobile responsiveness. Decent. And if you wanted to actually share this with a colleague or client, you could publish a version of this that is viewable by anybody. You could also unpublish it if you want. So here's an initial side-by-side of our mock-up with the real thing. And to be quite honest, I think our mock-up makes some pretty good changes. We have a better organization around these different content modules and specialties. We have a clearer understanding of the brand that is closer to the top of the fold. The copy is bigger and clearer. It's also rewritten to use a lot of the renewed positioning that we came up with. We have more trust and credibility content up front. We don't have these big clunky images, and we have dedicated sections on the homepage for both residential and commercial solutions. While these exist on the main page, you can see they're a little bit clunky, a lot of photos popping in and out. I think our mockup is definitely cleaner. What do you think? Our next step is we're going to now transition to Cursor and capture all of this information to allow Cursor to make an amazing updated website. First, we're going to download and copy this as an HTML. Then we're going to tell Claude to capture all of this, create a comprehensive prompt for Cursor to develop this website with both the HTML mockup in hand and all of the brand identity and messaging improvements that we've created. Output a prompt and then a separate markdown file with all of the brand information. All right, and we have our comprehensive prompt for Cursor. Claude is now creating the brand guidelines into a markdown file. Let's save this file, download as markdown. Perfect. All right, here we are in Cursor. I've taken the entirety of the prompt and pasted it right into the chat box. And then I've also dropped the two files, the brand guidelines and the mockup, into the directory that Cursor is working in. I'm using agent mode and ChatGPT 4.1, which is brand new and has very, very good feedback so far in terms of its capabilities. All right, let's let her rip. All right, Cursor has evaluated the prompt and is asking if we'd like to proceed with all of these improvements. Proceed with what you think is the next best step. All right, Cursor's cooking. I'm going to begin accepting these changes. We've got schema, accessibility enhancements, SEO improvements. What's next? These changes address foundational SEO accessibility and structure, et cetera, et cetera. The next best step would be to further enhance mobile navigation. I need you to proceed until we have a fully working and revised website. Do you understand? All right, I want to try and get this done with as little time and intervention as possible, so I've asked Cursor to just go, let her rip. Let's begin. So this will take a while. Cursor might run into issues or errors. Let's see how close we can get to a fully working site. Continue with your best recommended next steps. All right, it's laying out best step recommendations, contact form functionality, performance optimization, final accessibility, and polish. Let's proceed as quickly as possible to the final step so we can test our new website. All right, final accessibility and polish improvements are now complete. You can proceed to test the new site. All right, fantastic. Now we have a full working website that has been created using AI based on the original website. And quite frankly, it's a better experience. This works. We have working forms. We have an about page. We have some placeholder for where images should go. And then the same division of residential and commercial services that are more organized. This is more responsive compared to the previous site. And if we look side by side here, I think this is a pretty good redesign, if you ask me. And the great thing is now that we've run this through Cursor, all of these links in the nav now work. This is a really strong foundation that gets you this much closer to having a production ready and sellable site. Additionally, we now have a really great brand identity document with positioning, visual identity, typography, image styles, button styles. So this could be handed off to anybody to be implemented into the ongoing creative work beyond the website. So I hope this was helpful. This was fun. I love doing these kinds of experiments. Let me know your questions or feedback in the comments, or if you have other ideas of things you want to look at. Drop a like and a subscribe. And if you want the prompt framework that I used for this, there's a link in the description where you can sign up for the Viable Edge and you'll get the guide. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.